Well, good evening, everyone. It's a big crowd here tonight. Before we get into our agenda, has everyone signed up that would like to speak? Anybody else would like to speak during citizens' time? Okay. We do have a quorum, and I'll call the July the 9th meeting to order. We have Pastor Todd and Tammy Porter here from Life Changes Christian Church Center to do our invocation. I ask everyone to please stand and remain standing for our pledge. Todd.
Thank you, Chairman, Board. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we're truly thankful for this opportunity tonight, God. We're thankful, Lord, that we can be about the business of the greatest county in the world. We thank you, Lord, for a board that sees benefit to prayer tonight. And God, we just ask you, Lord, that as we are biblically reminded to pray for our leaders, we lift each of them up tonight, God, that you would give them direction and wisdom tonight, Lord, as they go about their business. We just thank you for these citizens that have come tonight. And Lord, may we declare that cooler heads will prevail, and we'll give you all the praise and all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, welcome everyone. We'll remind everyone you have 3 minutes or 5 minutes as an individual and 10 minutes as a group if you're speaking for a group. We will be doing time, and Ms. Lawson will call the names out, and we'll open the floor for citizens' time.
Okay. First on the list, we have Eric Crouchy.
Good evening, Mr. Crouchy.
Good evening. I appreciate you allowing us to come speak tonight. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, staff, I come tonight in support of the barns for the Apex Center. If each one of you has had a chance somewhere along the way, your comprehensive plan here, Chapter 5, page 5 through 17, mentions agriculture and agriculture tourism. And this is what the Apex Center is all about. Now, I know that on the Facebook information that was being put out recently, there was an individual that quoted something saying about, come on out, we're building a barn. That we've never done that. But we have, as a county, built a barn in this county. It wasn't necessarily a barn, it was a shell building. And the shell building was out at Fairview Industrial Park. But it was a bigger facility than what you're looking at building at the Apex Center. And number one, the county funded the whole thing. So the county funded this facility out the Apex Center. You know, we have funded Progress Park. We have funded the sewage systems down at the Poplar Camp area. All these things enhance our county. All these things make us what we are. My suggestion is that we stay the course. You've done a good job. You've continued to, you put a shell building out there, now there's an industry. You bought an industrial park out here, and look at the industry that has moved in out there. You've built a sewage system just recently completed at the Poplar Camp exit, and in hopes that somebody will come and build a motel or a restaurant, and we will get that meals and hotels tax from that. Well, this Apex Center that you've built, and it's a fantastic facility, you know, it's bringing people into the county. A barn will just enhance that. It will make it more versatile. It'll make it to where we can reap the almighty Yankee dollar that someone told me about one time. So the only thing that I could see that we're not doing is that we're not putting it out on the county webpage how much money that thing's generating. How much money is coming back to the county from this tax that you get from that? or how much increase we're getting from the restaurants or the motels recently from where we're having events. They can see an uptick. Well, the county should see an uptick in taxable income also. So the bottom line is, stay the course. Past boards have done this. You've done it yourselves with industry. So continue doing what you're doing, and it'll keep our tax base lower, hopefully. Thank you. I appreciate your support.
Thank you, Mr. Crowder.
Thank you. Next, we have Linda Meyer.
Good evening.
Good evening, Linda.
I'd like to talk about the continuing saga of the Speedwell feedlot. This has been going on. We haven't heard, I have gotten no response from any county, not county or state agencies in many, many months concerning any monitoring or anything that's going on. So at this point in time, you had talked about next year being a reassessment. The people within a 1 mile area of that feedlot, I'm sure, or should be, reassessed at a much, much lower value next year. That is a loss of revenue from the county, because nobody's going to buy those houses, nobody's going to go there if they have to endure what people are now enduring from that feedlot area. Speedwell's been established for over 200 years, and now we have a dagger stabbing us, and it's not going to go anyplace. I would like to suggest to you that the county send a letter to the owner of that feedlot and ask him what his intentions are. Is he going to be responsible for the lowering of taxes when the reassessment comes? Is he going to pay the county for the discrepancy? What is he going to do as far as health conditions and so on and so forth? Since we have gotten nothing from state agencies, how about getting on the stick and going to him personally and asking him what he intends to do, since he is killing our little community? Okay? Very easy. And I hope you can do something by the next meeting. So, everybody's talking about reparations. We should also ask him, what does he intend to do for the people in Speedwell now that have to endure what they're enduring on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? And this has been going on for several years now. And it is time that we really get a handle on it and do something about it. Thank you.
We will, Ms. Myers. Stephen, will you check with DEQ and see when the last time they were out there and check, monitor? Next person.
Okay, next person, Gina Dunford Harper.
Good evening.
Board, I'm here. I'm a 44-year-old volunteer for the Ivanhoe community. My family is 6 generations strong living in Ivanhoe. We have great pride in our community. For years, the Ivanhoe community has complained about the Ivanhoe Fire Department and, more importantly, our fire chief, Mr. Gary McKinney. Tonight, we come to you for your help and your support. We have talked to our supervisors, Coy McRoberts and Gene Horney, to no avail. We attempted to have a meeting to discuss our concerns with the firemen on Sunday, and we were greeted with snide remarks and threats. One of our senior citizens was threatened to be beaten up by the assistant chief. All we heard was how wonderful Gary is and how wonderful of a leader he is. All we're asking for is your help in helping us find that evidence, because we have yet to see it. The condition of the building and the grounds of the fire department are a disgrace to Wythe County, not only to Ivanhoe. I am also a District 3 employee. I am the site manager for the Ivanhoe Senior Citizens. We meet at the firehouse every Wednesday from 8:30 to 12:30. Would you want your 70 or 80-year-old mother or grandmother going into a bathroom where feces is all over the seat, in the floor, up the wall, where dirty clothes are over in the corner, where it looks like somebody's took a grease bath in the sink? With rotten hamburger meat and everything that I'm telling you, I have pictures right now that I can show you. They're on my phone. I'll be more than glad to show you. Rotten hamburger meat that was set in the refrigerator while we were out for Christmas for 2 weeks, that was not thrown away until May. It was dated August 23rd, I have pictures. We begged. I know District 3 made a complaint, the Extension Office made a complaint, and finally the senior citizens president called in. The hamburger meat was still away, but that was all that was mostly done. It is a disgrace to go in there. They let people have birthday parties and everything. They leave everything. We have to go in there every week. I get in there at 8:30, and for the first hour, I'm in there cleaning with another senior citizen. I never go in that building alone because I don't want it said that I was in there with anybody else. There is a lack of community support. What was once an organization of pride and honor is now a town joke and a bad name on the community. The volunteers for the auxiliary and the retired firemen were asked by Mr. McKinney not to leave the building, to leave and not come back. Their help was not needed nor asked for. All we're asking you for is for some accountability. We want a chief that is top-notch and a real leader. We want an assistant chief that is not a yes man. We want building and grounds keepers, and we want a committee formed, and we want a community member, a fire department member, and a county representative on this board to check the grounds. Not only the fire department, but also at Jubilee Park. We want the books audited as a community. But the big elephant in the room is the fact that Gary McKinney lives in our firehouse. You want proof? If you're in your home and you're watching cable and you're answering the phone and you're receiving phone calls there, and I'm answering phone calls when I'm supposed to be helping the senior citizens, of debt collectors calling and personally asking for him, not the fire department. I have answered the phone to AEP, going to turn the lights off at Jubilee Park. If you eat somewhere, sleep somewhere, wash your clothes somewhere, bathe somewhere, cook somewhere, is that not your residence? If you drive a vehicle that belongs to the fire department for a long, extensive time, is that not living somewhere? To me, that's my own personal residence. If anyone here says that Gary McKinney does not live in that building, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes come Judgment Day. We thank you for listening, and we pray that we can get a resolution to this problem. The solution has been to shut down the fire department. It was made by Coy McRoberts. He said that he would rather have it shut down. We don't want it shut down. We need our fire department. We fought hard to everything. Ivanhoe has fought hard for everything we've ever had. And we do not want to lose our fire department. What we want is we want accountability. We want Gary McKinney evicted from Jubilee Park. We want him evicted. That is community property. He pays nothing. I asked at the meeting on Sunday, I said, if you say he don't live here, where does he live? He's got a trailer down on the river. I said, you mean the camper that's in Jubilee Park? I said, is he paying lot rent for that? Everybody else that goes down there has to pay $10 a night. I said, is he paying power? Is he paying water? He ain't paying nothing. They said he mows. Whose lawnmower? Whose gas? Who's buying the gas? Yeah, if I lived somewhere for free, I'd mow the garden myself. We're just asking you for help in getting us, without shutting the fire department down, but to help us, help the community. And while we're here, we'd also like for you to think about helping our community with working fire hydrants and cleaning up our hog problem right downtown. You can't breathe. You can't have a family affair. The Masons, the Oddfellows, they can't have nothing outside because we have hog manure all over the place. So we're asking you, it's a health and a safety concern for the entire community, and for anybody to ask for a senior citizen to go into that building and have a meal where flies are drawn. We couldn't even sit in the meeting Sunday We looked like umpires calling in, run home, and take first base because we was slapping off the gnats and the flies because the trash can was overfilled and the trash was in the floor. We thank you, and we hope that, and if anybody here, would anybody like to see the pictures?
I'd like for you to show them to Mr. Barabott after the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Hunter Wilson.
Mr. Wilson?
Reeves, Board. I'm here on behalf of the Wythe County Historical Society, along with Michael Gilman. We're both on the board of directors. You could probably scratch that name off, the next name off your list.
You're welcome to walk up if you like.
He's probably content to just sit over there. But we're here for one of the agenda items, the annex building at Spiller, just to express our interest in the building. We have performed an initial evaluation of the spaces, crafted our intended uses for it if we were able to occupy that space. We're in the process of procuring services to perform greater studies of it if it's available to us. And we would love to field questions later on when we get to that agenda item if you'd like us to do that, but we just wanted to be here in support of the society and take any questions you had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and last on the list, we have Jared Price.
Good evening, Mr. Price.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Ivanhoe Fire Department. I'm the Assistant Chief of the Ivanhoe Fire Department. I'm here, I'm not here for me, and I'm not here for the fire department as a whole. I'm here for everybody in our community. There has been accusations made on Gary, but no reasoning behind why they want Gary out other than lies. The meeting that we had on Sunday, Gary was not there for half of this meeting. I was assistant chief and I took command of this meeting. I had this room completely calm. Everybody was talking. There was no arguing, no fussing. I never once first threatened anybody. I was threatened first, but that's neither here nor there. Our leadership, Gary has been a fabulous chief. Nobody in the community, other than the members of our department, understand the shape that the department was in when Gary became chief. I honestly feel, and I'm not the only one, that this is a personal lynching against Gary McKinney. She says there's evidence. They use the kitchen in that firehouse more than we do. Me and Gary and my wife, my family, my kids, they've all come down there and helped clean this kitchen, and she'll come in and it's never good enough. The building itself, yeah, we do slack. I do not deny that we do slack on our cleaning sometimes. We're a volunteer department. It's hard to get people to come all the time to keep cleaning it. But we've been working, since I've become assistant chief, we've been working to improve things that we are soft on, like cleaning. I told Gina and the rest of the seniors that was at that meeting Sunday that I had been talking to one of my lieutenants about putting together a cleaning rotation so that at once a week, somebody from two of the members of our department comes in, cleans the bathrooms, cleans the kitchen, cleans the meeting room, the hallways. That way it stays clean. I told them that this takes time. Change is not something that happens overnight. It doesn't. And anybody that thinks it does is crazy, and y'all know this. The bathrooms and all that, I covered that. The auxiliary. Gary did not run the auxiliary off. I can produce documents where the department as a whole voted to abolish the ladies' auxiliary. That was not a decision made by Gary McKinney. That was a decision made by the department as a whole. And like I said, if you need me to, I can produce documentation of that because we keep minutes from every meeting. Gary living on the river. Yes, Gary does stay down there a lot. But Gary mows, he takes care of the grounds, he keeps track, he cleans the bathrooms. Sometimes he don't have any help. Nobody goes to help him mow. Nobody goes to help him clean the bathrooms, the concession stands, none of that. Gary takes care of everything. He makes sure that people pays when they camp. He takes care of everything on that river by himself 90% of the time. So if he wants to stay down there for a while, so be it. I mean, he's basically taking care of everything. But I honestly feel that if Gary was not the chief of this department, none of this would be an issue. It wouldn't. This is an honest to God, I feel that it is a personal attack against Gary. But I know from fact that Gary is willing to do anything that it takes to save this department because he has the same passion and desire to do this. And he has the same care and passion for our department that I do, that all those people on that back row do. We all have families, but we took time from our families to come here because we love our department and we love our community. And I wouldn't be here. I'm not a public speaker. I'm horrible at it. So if I look nervous and I'm fidgety, that's my fault. I'm sorry. I'm not a politician. I'm a fireman that loves to be a part of this fire department. And I will do anything that it takes to keep this fire department going. And I just ask that y'all give us a chance to try to get things straightened up that we know we're weak on and move things in the right direction. Like I said, change don't happen overnight, but it's working. And I can show you things that we've been doing this year that we haven't done any other year. Things that ain't never been done in that department on a good side. And as far as the truck, Gary does use the truck to go to, I'm sorry. Gary does use the truck, but Gary goes to use the truck. He goes to get supplies for the river where we do our horse shows and all that stuff. He goes to Pulaski a lot to get like paper towels and all that stuff. He goes to Sam's to get food. In the wintertime, he brings his personal truck off that river to scrape the snow out of the parking lot so that we can get into the parking lot, so that we can get our trucks in and out of that building. Gary does not use that truck for his personal use. So, I mean, that's, like I said, I'm not a politician, I'm not a good public speaker, but I appreciate y'all for listening. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you. Do the same.
That's the last person that had signed up to speak for citizen time, but I will allow if anyone else would like to come up and speak. Now's your chance. Okay, hearing none, we'll close citizens' time, and I'd like to instruct Mr. Bear and Curtis to look into this and get with the Fire and Rescue Committee at their next meeting and solve this problem. The last thing we want to do is close the fire department down and reorganize it. You're going to have a fire department. We're not taking the fire department away from Ivanhoe. If we have to reorganize it, we will. We have before in the county because of problems, but one way or the other, we'll get this straightened out. And thank y'all for coming, and we'll move on with our agenda now. Next item on the agenda is payment of invoices. Entertain a motion to approve. Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Pay the invoices. Is any invoice or would like to have any questions or be removed? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Next item is minutes of our previous meeting, June the 28th, 2019. Entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any correction or changes need to be made to the minutes? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Vaught?
I'll abstain, I wasn't here.
Aye.
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 And the chair votes aye. Next item on our agenda is old business, and we'll move into appointments. Mr. Bear, we
Yes,
have three.
Mr. Chairman, we usually have two appointments for the Recreation Commission and an appointment for the With Grayson Regional Library Board. that are still open, so we just put these on the agenda. You all had just discussed these, I guess, Friday, a week or so ago at our last meeting. Today, I believe I did receive an email from an interest in the Regional Library Board, so I will get that forward to everyone. I don't believe Ms. Collins has received any other applications at this point in time.
Okay. Does any member have anyone for the Recreation Commission or with Grayson Regional Library?
I don't have anybody at this time, but if there's anybody from Ivanhoe that's in my district that would like it, I'll talk to them afterwards.
Okay. Okey-doke. We'll move on to new business. Or Mr. Byrd's, anything else under old business you need to bring up?
I do not have any other items, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, new business, Hager Springs Pump Station.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you have in front of you a letter from Don Chris to myself. Along with it is a letter from Pete and Bortz with recommendation. And time is of the essence to get these pumps ordered and in. So that's why it is not on the Water Committee, waiting until the next meeting. My recommendation is for the board to approve the recommendation from Pete and Bortz and Mr. Crisp for the purchase of the pumps from Clearwater Incorporated. These are the pumps for the Hager Springs Pump Station. A few meetings ago, you all had approved money to go into it for the purchase of those pumps. One pump is out of order. The second pump is still functioning, but there is no repair parts available for that part. It is, I want to say they said almost 20 years old or so in the process. So that's why the need to go ahead and move forward with buying these two pumps.
I entertain a motion to approve the staff's recommendation.
I would make that motion.
Have a second? Have a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments or discussion? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
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 The chair votes aye. Next item is Health Department Vaccine Room. This concerns our air conditioner unit.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the vaccine room up there, when that building was originally designed in 2012, it was not designed to hold the number of refrigerators that are up there that are currently holding their vaccines. The air conditioning unit that is there services several rooms in the process, and the control's not in that room, so it can get hot in that room. And these vaccines, not only the ones in the refrigerator that are protected, but the ones that are just in the cabinets and stuff, have a temperature that they need to remain, and we have been close. The health department, I guess emergency planning coordinator contacted me. I've spoken with the district director about this, or the office manager about this. Daryl, who does all of our HVAC work from the Buildings and Grounds Department, has reviewed it, and he and Mr. Bowers have recommended the installation of like a split wall unit to go in there. We can locate the unit upstairs on the wall of the roof up top and run it inside, and that would give an individual controlled air conditioning unit in there. If anything goes down with the other unit, it's there to cover, but it also supplements what's there. And I would recommend approval of amendment and appropriation of this amount. I have asked the health department, and they are trying to find emergency funds to assist us with this. But
Is this the total cost of
this is the total
$27.83?
cost. It doesn't include our guys' labor or anything. That's covered cost, but this is the cost to purchase the unit. And I would request amendment and appropriation because during the hot summer months, it pushes the limit on their temperature of their drugs up there.
Okay, I entertain a motion to amend and appropriate to $2,783.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to recommend that we make an effort to standardize and not put some oddball unit up there.
Understood. Good idea.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Vaught?
Aye.
Aye.
All right,
And the chair votes aye. Next item, the Apex Construction Committee report.
Apex Construction Committee met yesterday, July the 8th. Took the following actions. Item 1, the Construction Committee recommended approval of change order in an amount of $1,500 to add 3 independent quad outlets with circuits adjacent to the exhaust fan job. Item 1.
Okay, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Open the floor up for discussion or questions.
Is this to help put power on the floor?
It is 3 circuits, independent circuits.
Any other questions? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
All right.
The chair votes aye. Next item.
The Apex Construction Committee received bids on the 3rd for the utility barn. The bids consisted of base bid for 32,000 square foot utility barn, dimensions 200 by 160 in accordance with the contract documents. General steel frame building construction. Alternate bid for a 16,000 square foot barn or 100 by 160. In accordance with contract document, an alternate bid for a 32,000 square foot building in compliance with contract documents will allow for the alternate construction. The action, the committee recommended declaration declaring 2 bids non-responsive. Champion's bid did not include a bid bond, did not include contractor's license, did not place a complete bid for the base bid, and indicated supporting documents that they would not serve as a general contractor. Rudolph and Delp did not include required level of contractor licensure. The committee ranked the bids, and the bid ranking was Simcon Company LLC, RGM Erectors Incorporated, Cost W. Simmons Court, that's supposed to be Court, W. Simmons Construction Company, and Blair Construction were the 4 bids evaluated. Contingent on board approval, negotiations would be entered into with the apparent low bidder and approval at the July 23rd meeting.
Okay, come from committee, it doesn't need a second. Any questions or discussion? And this is a vote entering into negotiations with the low bidder.
The copy of the bid document is attached with this package, or the bid tabulation sheet.
Mr. Chairman, I agree with what Mr. Crouch just said about growing the county. You know, this is a prime example of the problem I've had with the entire project. You know, we get a $200,000 grant with a $200,000 match. We do a press release telling the citizens that we're gonna build a $400,000 barn. And now we're looking to enter into negotiation with a bidder at $871,500. It's more than double. This project started out supposed to cost $6.5 million based on a study. We are now at $10.3 million. Where does it stop? And I know the vote's probably gonna be 5-2, so I'll reach across the aisle and I'll ask Mr. McRoberts and Mr. Horning, because I know for a fact both of you will be in here in January, if y'all will do the right thing and represent these taxpayers and vote against this.
Well, I will say one thing, when we estimate stuff, we did estimate the barn being low. And when you do estimates, then you put stuff out for bid, you get a rude awakening on how much stuff really costs to put up.
Mr. Chairman, but we did say 16,000 square feet, and
Then they decided they wanted a 32,000 square foot because they'd went and viewed some. Everybody said build big. And it kind of reminds me of when I trade vehicles, they always want to get me over there and look at the one that's got leather, but I stay within my budget. And I think we need to do that with this tax money.
Yeah, but when we put out, when we done the preliminary plan for the facility, it called for 3 smaller barns instead of 1 larger barn. And the larger barn will take place of the other 2 barns. So,
I'd like to interject also. Let's stick to a little bit of truth here. But, Mr. Barron, reflect how much money is donated that is not tax money. The gentleman says that there's $200,000. We all know that there's more than $200,000 of money here that is not taxpayer money.
As far as the barn is concerned, we did apply for the grant for a $400,000 building. We did get a $200,000 grant from the Tobacco Commission. The Farm Bureau had previously made a commitment of $50,000 for the construction of a barn. In addition, we had money donated from the AAEC in the amount of about $275,000 that was there right now. $250,000 of that was committed to the bleachers project, so there is about $25,000 available there. So there is at least $75,000 in addition to the $200,000 available.
And in a previous action of this board, there's another $50,000 that we didn't pay for the bleachers, and we're not gonna pay for the bleachers. So there's another $50,000. Let's just lay it out there. One of the ways to look at it, there's already $475,000 here of total monies. And the quality of the building is for the long-term economy to scale. The very bid itself shows that building half the need will cost more than to build it right and build it correctly at this time. That's not counting how much concrete goes up, how much steel goes up, how much labor goes up. If you're going to build something, you build for the present and for the future. Thank you.
any other comments?
Yep.
I do have something wrong with something. I don't think a half-built building is gonna do us any good, and we're already $10.3 million in hot for it, so put another little kitty to the bag and let's go. We get it where we can use it and make money with it. We're not gonna make any money in standing and arguing whether we're gonna do this or not. This little girl right here is the manager down there. She probably could get up here and tell you how much money she expects to take in that place. I'm for building the barn.
Ms. Lawson?
I always say, I'm probably for community growth more than anyone else, and I do agree with Mr. Crouchy, it would enhance the county. But this has grown into something so big and so massive of where we started. And to disagree with Mr. McRoberts for a minute, if we do have close to 400,000 or whatever dollar amount Stephen just said, then let's bring it back down to what we can afford. That might honestly be something we could look at, but I can't agree right now to support something this expensive.
Any other comments?
I personally think it's something that we've got to do. I mean, it's something that's gonna make the Apex Center better. I tried to put it in simple terms that I can understand, and I've told people this. It's kinda like me going out and buying a farm that's good for nothing but grazing cattle on, and then after I sign the papers to buy the farm, I decide I'm not spending no more money, so I'm not buying no cattle. Well, if I don't buy cattle, I can't make no money off of it. That's the way I look at this. I mean, this is gonna enhance that property, and it's gonna make it better. Yeah, it may flop, Brian, you're right. And if it does, then hopefully this barn will make the value of that property more. That's my opinion.
Do we need it now, though?
I think you do. I think you've got
I mean, I
events,
agree
I
that
think
we
you've
need
got
it.
events that are not gonna come unless they've got a barn to put their animals in.
I completely agree that we need it, but we've poured so much money into this
Well,
facility.
Mr. Horny, to use your analogy, if they priced that farm at $6.5 million with the cattle and the tractors included, and then when you went to pay for it, they said it was 10.3 million, because the study said that this could all be done with the barns and everything for 6.5 million. The same study that said that this would pay for itself. And you know, we want to see it succeed, but, you know, we were told that the phone, before it opened, you know, the phone's ringing off the hook. People booking stuff. Well, they've only had a handful of stuff this summer. What happened to those phone calls?
I see your point, Brian, but
It's not a point, it's the
I
truth.
still believe though that for the first year that it's ever been opened, they've had a lot of events there. They've had, every event I've been to has been a lot of people there.
I agree. I think everyone's doing a fantastic job. Mr. Miller, I forget your name, but everyone's doing such a great job. But let's keep that up before we keep pouring more money into it. Not yet.
Any more discussion or questions or comments? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Horny?
Aye.
No.
No.
And the chair votes aye. Motion carries. Next item.
The last item with the construction committee. Apex Committee of Construction Committee recommends adoption of an attached resolution 2019-19 supporting an application to the Virginia Tobacco Commission Revitalization Commission to fund construction for supported facilities at the Apex, which will include exterior bathroom, shower, toilet facility, livestock washing facility, and equipment storage. This grant request will be for $100,000, which would require a $100,000 matching grant from the county. This application has to be filed real soon, and that's the recommendation of the committee, is that we file to see if the grant qualifies. Thank you.
Okay, again, come from committee. It doesn't need a second. Any discussion?
So this is another grant to build another $200,000 bill.
Correct.
This will be for the bathrooms and shower facilities for the outside of the regular facility.
And a shower facility for the livestock.
Yep. Any other questions? Hear none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Bob?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 And the chair votes yes. Motion passes. Anything else from the Apex Construction? Don't see
That's it,
anything.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Spiller Annex discussion.
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Byrd?
if I might, the Buildings and Grounds Committee has been working for some time with the Spiller Annex building, which sits there across from Spiller School. Building has not been used since probably about 2003, 2004, somewhere in that time frame. The committee has had some discussions with the town in the past of leasing that building to the town for museum purposes. The town came back and talked about, one of their proposals was not restricting it to museum purposes only, but also maybe some office type space and some other things. And the committee was very strong that they were interested in it being used for historical museum type purposes. And that's where discussions entered into with the Wythe County Historical Society. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, the school board, in conjunction with the county, conveyed a parcel which is shown on the map there, and I can't remember what exactly is housed in that building. But basically, that was conveyed to the Wythe County Historical Society at that point in time. As Mr. Wilson mentioned here a little bit ago, the Historical Society is interested in obtaining that property. And the county could look at conveying that property to Historical Society. The county attorney has looked into the matter, and in order to convey this property to the Historical Society, the Board of Supervisors would need to set a public hearing to allow the public to come and discuss and provide any comments they have for the conveyance of this property to the Historical Society. Certainly the board could put parameters and restrictions as they deem necessary within that deed document of the purposes and use of that building. I'll be glad to answer any questions, or if you have any questions you want to refer to Mr. Farley.
The board have any questions on,
No, I have a few comments.
okay,
My professional career has been in saving old buildings across this country. This is a unique piece of architecture that many people in this room and in Whitville went to school there. We in the architectural community, there's period architecture. It don't have to be old to be very significant. And that is a significant piece of architecture. If you look at the business side, Whitville has a strong museum board. They have a strong museum commitment. That's part of tourism. Mr. Crouchy gave one of my quotes a while ago that our purpose here is to snag those Yankee dollars. Tourism is good, clean revenue. If we act smart and we do things like keep supporting the town and keep supporting the mission of the museum board, make money off of our valued long history. This is just part of the big picture that we have toured that building. Mr. Lester and I, Mr. Bear, it's set up for an educational facility. The people at the museum have programs that they could have operating in there right now. And our effort is to save the architecture, repurpose this building so it can have a new life and be part of the community. It will also be tethered to educational and museum activities. This is something that is solid, good for the community. Thank you.
okay. And we do have an existing museum there on the site too.
Mr. Chairman, this is in my area, and I also went to school there, and I fully support this. And anything these two say, I also fully support.
That's a broad statement.
I know, it is. I trust them, they know a lot more about this than we do.
Mr. Chairman, I've talked to Mr. Wilson, and I also talked to Jim Lloyd with the JAM program, which is, I guess, been in existence for less than a year now, but it's really taken off. And one of the goals of the Historical Association taking this building is to have a larger place for the JAM program, and I think it's a good idea. And I mean, the county's not getting much benefit out of it right now, so if Hunter says he can save it
David.
I'm all for it.
I agree, and I'm a big fan of bluegrass music, and I think Mr. Lloyd's doing a tremendous service to our community and to the young people of this community, as far as teaching banjo and mandolin and bass and guitar. I think he's doing a wonderful job. And this would be a wonderful place for them to have a permanent place to teach.
Mr. Chairman, I would request that you all request the county attorney to draft a deed of exchange for review by both Historical Society and by your board, and set a public hearing for the Tuesday night, August 13th meeting.
You need that in a motion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Mr. Byers, anything else come before the board tonight?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, I do not have any additional information at this time.
Does any board member have anything to bring before the board?
Mr. Chairman, to go back to the public comment about the fire department in Ivanhoe, since all these people have stayed here, can we direct Mr. Baird, and I guess Curtis left, but they have a fire and rescue meeting on the 15th, to have us an answer of how we fix this problem by our next meeting, which is the 23rd.
I think the fire and rescue, I mean, I don't know where they'll have an answer, but we can get a report from what their discussions in the fire and rescue committee. Who's the chairman?
Mr. Hill's the chairman, but
Yeah,
Stephen, I will be out of town that day.
Well,
Monday.
can we agree that the committee, being Mr. McRoberts and Ms. Lawson and myself, and you, whoever you want to take from staff, let's go down there and look at it firsthand, and let's do it quickly, because if it's in bad repair, we don't want to let time lapse that the cleaning crew can come in there and polish up a pigsty. That was bad for Ivanhoe to bring that up, but check that's a county building. So we have all the authority in the world to come there. One of the questions I have as chairman, they're an independent organization. Is that correct, Mr. Father?
Yes.
Are they incorporated? Is that correct?
I think so, yes.
So we've got to walk a pretty tight line here of what we can and can't do along those lines, but it is a county building. County owns all equipment in the building, maybe except the pickup. So, Mr. Barrett, if you would, let's arrange the quickest visit possible that you get the total committee and your staff. Let's go down there and do a site visit, follow up with recommendations.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Need to go now.
You
You
may-
need to go now before they walk in and start, see what we put up with. Look at it now.
That's what,
Go tonight.
as quick as
Don't
possible.
run the camera.
I mean, if the committee members would like to go tomorrow afternoon, we could schedule it for tomorrow afternoon.
What time?
You all tell
I
me
live
what
where
works
you
good.
can come 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't
Tell me
think,
what works good for
You
you.
doing breakfast?
not doing work. Yeah, I could do something to eat, but you might not eat it.
Mr. Barrett, could you have, if we do it tomorrow afternoon, could you have somebody from staff go down there in the morning, take some pictures, and then set the time whenever you want to?
Excuse me, sir, I do have pictures, and the Ivanhoe Senior Citizens meets tomorrow at the building from 8:30 to 12:30. We will be in there, and if you would love to come and speak to the seniors, they'll be more than glad to tell you of what nastiness they've had to survive in for the past year or more.
What time did you say their meeting was over?
It's from 8:30 to 12:30.
I'd recommend we get there after 12:30.
Don't be afraid, honey, don't be afraid. Go for lunch.
I
Can y'all-
realize you're too young, Mr. Hale, to meet with that group. Yeah. I can look and send.
Hold on one second.
I like it. I've said it in Idaho for 7 years.
Sir,
Thank y'all for just, saying, you know, we're not gonna close our fire department, because we need the fire department. No matter, we all need to work together, not against each other. We need to work together to keep that fire department. That's one thing that we need, real bad. We need a lot of other things in Idaho. We need a fire department.
thank you. Mr. Birdie, I wanna, I say, Ms. Lawson can't meet at 12 tomorrow.
I'll make it happen.
She'll make it happen.
I can't meet at 12 tomorrow, but if you all want to go, I'll send you all with staff. If y'all want to meet at 12 and get down there at 12:30.
I'd like for
If you
them
wanna
to
do it
go
later
and talk
today.
to some of the seniors.
All right. If you-
And
Anybody wants to meet here at 12, and then we'll show up down there at 12:30, or if you want to meet directly down there at 12:30, we'll see you there.
Mr. Barrett, can you get the pictures from,
Yes.
Ms. Harper?
I have pictures of the firehouse, I also, and the conditions, and I also have the, pictures of Jubilee Park and how it's supposedly mowed, but it ain't never weed eated, and how the trash is overflowing.
Mr. Mayor, report to us what the status of Jubilee Park. I've always, for 8 years that I've been on the board, have always been confused about who owns Jubilee Park and who operates it.
Jubilee Park is actually located in Carroll County. It is not in Wythe County. I do not know the details of the terms of the agreement that the Ivanhoe Fire Department has with Carroll County on that. I do not know if it is a lease or if
I was
it
there.
is a lease on that property.
The property belongs to the Ivanhoe Civic League, and it is leased to the Ivanhoe Fire Department. Their part for exchange for him mowing.
Is that the entire property or just part of the old Jubilee Park property, or is that all the property that's down there?
Jubilee, their place is down below what the fire department has.
As you go in there, DGIF owns the first part.
Yes, sir.
We know who owns it.
And it's not moved.
Right, then they're not gonna mow it.
Yeah.
But then, is there two entities that actually own the park? Or is there one entity that has control of the park?
I will get you an answer on that.
Ivanhoe Civic League owns the park, it's in conjunction with the lease to the fire department.
Okay.
So we got that straightened out. Y'all gonna be at the Ivanhoe Fire Department at 12 tomorrow,
30,
12:30.
right.
Okay.
Meet here at 12.
Meet here at
Meet here at
12.
12.
Yeah, I'll just go down there and he'll already be down there.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
You can get a
I'll
vehicle.
just see
I
how.
love it.
No, we don't want to pay you the mileage.
I like to ride, I don't.
Okay, is anything else come before the board at this time? Hearing none, we are adjourned.